Yeah, another question I want to ask is setting boundaries in choir, especially with friendships. Have you had a time where you had to set boundaries, like somebody's calling too much, somebody's getting too close for comfort, or somebody is calling to complain too much about, like, have you ever had to set boundaries with friendships in choir? And how did you do that? Yeah, in your journey.
I think for me, if there was too many complaints coming to me about somebody else, I would refer you back to that person because that's the person that hurt you or did something wrong. Or to the choir mistress, I feel this is what's happening. Or just generalize it, not to pinpoint on the person who made the question or whatever. I would say maybe we should check on this. This has been a occurring thing that's happening in the choir. How do we check on that? For boundaries, I think I'm just a very upfront. I think I'm blunt, but I'm not that blunt to the point that I would be disrespectful. If you're trying to call, please don't call me around this time. It's
Mm-hmm.
just simple. And the person takes it to heart, like, oh, I'm offending them. It's not about you. It's just what I've said
Yeah.
for myself. I had a friend who doesn't pick calls around like from 8 p.m. You can't get to her.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get to her. So she tells you you
Yeah.
can't get to her around 8 p.m. So you know if anything you want to tell her from the morning till 7 or 7:15 or 7:30. Text it, call her. After that part, she puts her phone on do not disturb.
Yeah.
So you can't even get to her, right? Until the next day. So like, yeah, let's set boundaries. It's not
Yeah,
hard. I
for
think
sure.
people find it hard to
Yeah,
do
I
because
do
they're trying to.
particularly because I don't like to hurt people. I'm growing out of it, but I used to be a very bad people pleaser. So I don't like to hurt people, and most times it erodes your boundaries. And in situations in the choir, especially when you're kind of popular, people tend to invade your personal space, or do inappropriate things that in your own eyes are inappropriate. So it's very important that we learn how to navigate boundaries and how to set boundaries with friendships and relationships in choir. And sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's not just in words, it's just in actions. Because most times my words, especially when I'm emotionally charged, are not pleasant. So I use my actions better. I rather leave a place to send a message, or maybe it's too much, or I keep quiet. I don't respond to you anymore. Because usually I'm very responsive. I joke, laugh, play, but then once I stop responding, you get the message real quickly. So it works better for me with actions than with words, quickly. It depends on you, but I know a lot of people like me who are people pleasers, who are recovering people pleasers, find it hard to set boundaries. So I use more of my actions. I don't maybe pick your calls, or I don't respond to you anymore. Or when you talk, I don't laugh anymore. I just keep in that gap. Sometimes you have to come out and be bold enough to have that difficult conversation. I do. I'm not afraid anymore of difficult conversations, but it has to get to, it has to be worth my while for me to have those difficult conversations with you. And sometimes you don't even know the whole story, the whole situation. So it's when you give time for something to marinate, you can say you did this time, this time, this time, this time, and going forward, could you please
Mhm.
stop? It doesn't sit well with me. Yeah, so yeah, setting boundaries is one thing that I struggle with, but I'm getting better at it with time. As I age, I begin to know that I don't really care what people think about, especially when it affects me in an adverse way. So yeah, so setting boundaries in friendship inspire is something we should look at and begin to be better at. I think Shay has something to say as regards that.
I think prioritizing yourself helps you set those boundaries a lot. When you love yourself, you love what's like you love the process of like what you're getting and what you're bringing out of yourself, right? If
Mm,
you if you that it gets to a point where you don't love what you're saying anymore, and then you have to check and say, okay, what am I feeding myself? What am I actually allowing into my space? What kind of person or thoughts are coming into my space, right?
yeah.
So me, I've come to the point that I'm selfish with myself.
Mm,
I'm very, very selfish with myself to the point where I don't even need to wait for it to get there.
mm-hmm.
My head, it has already gotten there. Like maybe one thing happened, and I
Yeah.
tell myself if this happens on and on, it will get there. So before I disrespect you or get
Yeah.
to that point, please don't do that.
For sure.
Or I think it was a while ago. I think it was last year. I was taking pictures. I'm a picture person. So I was taking pictures, and someone just came, was an opposite sex person, came and just held me. I said, please don't touch me. Don't touch me
Yeah.
there. Like, do not. And the people around were like, I'm like, I'm not pissed. I don't like to be touched that way.
Mm-hmm.
The person, I think person he got offended. I'm like, "Mm, it's just that's me. You can be offended. You offended me, and you
Yeah.
get offended with your own offense, right?" And I continue taking my pictures, and I'm okay. So direct because if you accommodate it so much, the other person might not be aware. or they are doing it intentionally, and they're like, oh, she didn't say anything, or
Yeah.
they did not say anything, so I can do more. No, just be direct and knowing that saying your mind or saying something that protects you is not going to kill you. They'll be offended, and everybody will move on. Offense did not kill anybody.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. I agree with that. It's really important to protect yourself in that sense, especially your mental health. Feeling disrespected and not speaking out, it's one of the hardest things. I have gone through it a lot. You're feeling disrespected, but you don't want to speak out because you don't want to rock the boat, right? So it's very important that we learn how to speak up. At the same time, there should be balance to it. We shouldn't get to the extreme where we become rude and disrespectful, and especially when you have a sense that the person is not aware of what they're doing. So it's important that you starting with actions help, because once you pull away from a situation, they get the message quicker and without the sting of a wrong word, right? Or wrong word, they get the message quicker. And then when they still don't get it, then you call and have a respectfully difficult conversation and speak to the person. So there are stages to this. That's how it has always worked for me, because I cherish people around me and I want them to be comfortable at the same time. I wouldn't want it to extend to disrespect. So yeah, it's been a very, 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 very insightful episode today. I just want to say thank you, Sheyi, for being here, talking about friendships and choir. You can't exhaust it. There's so much more. Probably we'll have another run, another episode, a follow-up episode as regards, there's to talk about so much, about choir friendships, choir cliques, how we can foster it, because it's really key. That's what builds community, the friendships in choir. Most people don't come to sing. They just come to see their friends gist and enjoy the ambience of the music while they, talk to their friends and catch up. So it's important that we maintain the balance of good friendships and don't let it slip from either being too cliquey where people are feeling excluded, or being everybody is too separated and there is no community, there's no mingling. And the fun part of choir, it just dies out. So we need to learn how to navigate those relationships in choir. So yeah, thank you for being here, and we've come to the end of this episode. Please, if you have any questions, any contributions, any part you feel we haven't really talked about, please comment in the comment section. Also, if you feel this resonated with you in any way, please like and follow for more, so that you will catch up with us on the next episode. With that said, I'll say thank you for listening to me, Neka, your host, your favorite choir member, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed, keep singing. Goodbye.